Hi guys, this is Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and we've got this knife for you today. This is an older style by Sanrenmu. I have not seen them come out with the newer style. The newer ones have 4-digit numbers. This is the MC-715, and it only says 715 on the blade. A lot of the sites say that this is 440C steel. I do not believe that for a second. If it was, this would be the only knife that Sanrenmu makes that uses 440C steel that I know of. And I know pretty much all of their knives. The other version of this with the full flat grind, that's 8CR13 MOV. I suspect that's what this is. Most of the knives back then with the 3-digit numbers were 8CR13. And so that's what I think this is. We've got micarta handle scales on top of these steel liners. And so they're those partial scales that just cover part of the area of the handle. It fit 3-finger grip easily. My 4th finger gets a bit of a traction on there. Drop point blade, nice recurve. And I'm enjoying this knife. It's not very left-hand friendly because you can't move the thumb stud over to the left side. It's right side only for the thumb stud. You would think that you could turn it around and there's room on the other side, but the way they've milled the hole in the tang of the blade, it only goes the one way, unfortunately. And that's true of several of the Sanrenmu knives that I'm going to be looking at in this next week. So if you're interested at all in this knife, and even if you're not, stick around for the full review of this Sanrenmu. Just a few minutes ago, I did an unboxing and recorded that video, and this is the neighbor to this knife. You can see the similarities and the differences, of course. Similarities are you've got the same kind of micarta handle treatment on it. Let's put these close to each other. You've got the same kind of basic treatment of the liners. Lanyard holes in the same spot. Of course, the shape is unique, and the blades are very different one from the other. No pocket clip on this guy. This is the MC-714, so you'll see the video of this guy coming up soon, full flat grind. Today, we're taking a look at this. We've got a hollow grind, recurve blade, drop point, swedge, pocket clip, which is tip down right side only, or the other option is to remove it. And micarta handle scales on top of the big liners, nice lanyard hole here. And so it's functionally very much of a cross between a frame lock and a liner lock, the way it works. You do have the micarta here, and you can even say that part of this pocket clip behaves as an over travel stop, so you can't open the frame lock arm too far. It's not a big risk that you're going to wreck it anyways, because there's no relief cut in here at all. It's the same thickness steel all the way along. And so the blade closes very much centered quite well. And the lockup is a little bit later than I like a new knife to be, but it's not bad. So it's very secure is what I mean. It's solid. It's got a fair bit of life left on it. And, you know, sort of rounded shape back here. Everything's got nice, smooth kind of curves. There's no jimping anywhere. Very comfortable knife to use. And I've sharpened it up on my TS Prof system, and it sharpened up very well. I've got some new stones now. I didn't use those stones on this one because I just got them in that are great for sharpening a recurve. So I'm going to be doing a video soon about the stones specifically designed for recurve blades to sharpen them. Let's zoom in a little bit and give you all the sizes and everything on this knife, but we'll do that right after I make sure I cover all the specs. Specs, 8CR13 MOV steel is what I believe it is. It did say 440C here. Even Fast Tech has 440C listed for this blade. I'm just super, super doubtful that that's what it is, because Sanrenmu doesn't have that on any of their other knives that are like this. Certainly not older knives like this. And like this knife is 8CR13, and so many of their other knives, especially their older knives, are 8CR13 MOV steel. I'm very sure that that's what this is as well. The label for this is MC715. Rockwell is about 57 for that steel. Satin finish, micarta handle scales, open pillar. I didn't talk about that before. And so you've got a back pillar here. It's just a plain stud right there. Nothing fancy about it. Just a nice smooth pillar. Same thing with the stop pin. It's the same size and it screws in from both sides. And then you've got the pivot, and that's what holds it together. And I've mentioned all the other details about it, except for the washers. We've got one white nylon washer and one phosphor bronze washer. Okay, let's talk about all the different dimensions right now, real quick. Cutting edge, 6.83 centimeters. That's 2.69 inches. Blade length, so the end of the handle here, about the middle to the tip of the blade, is 6.9 centimeters, 2.71 inches, just barely bigger than the cutting edge. The blade thickness is 2.3 millimeters. That's 0.091 of an inch. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, and I measured about an inch away from the pivot end of the handle, is 0.54 millimeters. That's 0.0215 inches. Very good thickness behind the grind. The handle length, 9.22 centimeters. That's 3.63 inches. Grip area down here, 6.8 centimeters, 2.68 inches. The handle thickness, not counting the pocket clip, is 1.3 centimeters, 0.513 inches. That's just over half an inch. The handle depth, that's this way, is 2.26 centimeters at its thickest spot. That's 0.89 of an inch. The total length with the blade deployed is 16.15 centimeters. And in inches, it's on the screen. Weight, 78 grams, which is 2 3/4 of an ounce. 2 3/4 ounces is not bad at all for a little knife like this. And as you can see, you can use your thumb, build up a little pressure, and just flick it out like that. Or, of course, you can easily just open it up that way. Sort of a typical manual opening. Very smooth action. Those washers, once they're just a slight bit lubricated, they work very well. The detents are very good on this knife. The detent ball lets go right there, and then the lock grabs on right there. And the detent, when it's closed, works very well. You can see it suck in that last little bit. And it holds it nice and snug. It's not going to open in your pocket unawares or unwanted. Technically, it can, but very, very unlikely that that's going to happen to you. How much does this knife cost? Well, it's not very expensive at all. $7.04 US, plus about $1.70 shipping. $8.98 Canadian, plus just over $2 shipping. In euros, it's just under €6, $5.96 plus a $1.44 or €1.44 shipping. And in the UK, you're going to pay £5.3 plus 1.28 for shipping. And if you buy multiple items, your cost of shipping is going to go down per item. So, good little knife. I like the fit and finish. I wish they'd make a new version of this. I really do. This knife is worth making an updated version. What Sanrenmu does quite often is they take the exact same knife and all they do is put a new brand, not a new brand, a new model number on it. Their current model numbers are 4 digits long and then some letters. Their older models were a couple letters and then 3 digits. And on this knife, right here by my thumb, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. It says 715. This is the MUC-715, and yet you only see 3 digits on most of these older knives. It's a good-looking knife. The hand feel is great. Micarta feels good in the hand. It feels like it'd be kind of rough on the hand, but everything is nicely rounded, so it's very comfortable. Even the pocket clip doesn't really get hot in the hand, even though the end of it here is sort of upswept, but it's not very highly upswept. So, it feels good either left hand or in the right hand, especially. It doesn't get hot at all. It's got a nice location here for the lanyard hole. If you use the lanyards, that is. It's a little too heavy, coming up on 3 ounces to be a keychain knife. I usually cut that weight off at 2 ounces, and so 2 3/4, just a little too much. And of course, I desire it. Probably about 1.5 ounces is my more desirable limit for keychain knives. I like that these scales are, solid, and they're minimalistic. They look good. Everything is, I think, hex. That's Allen. Let me double check that. Yes, everything is hex screws. I was thinking maybe that screw there might be a Torx, but they're all hex screws, which also shows that it's just a little bit older. Build quality is good. I like a recurve blade, especially for EDC tasks, because recurve blades cut very well right in there. What don't I like about this? There's no lefty features for it. It's not really left-hand friendly at all. I have to use my finger underneath to deploy the blade. That gets it started with this finger, and then my index finger takes over and I can pull it out. Closing it's really easy, but opening it is that sort of 2.5 step mode, which is not fun at all. So if you're a lefty, you're probably not going to enjoy this too much. If you're a righty, you can have loads of fun with this knife because the detent is so good. If that thumb stud was changeable back and forth, and that shouldn't be too hard for them to do, they could have, in fact, made a thumb stud that comes all the way through, because it doesn't touch the liner here. And if they did do a thumb stud that goes all the way through, it'd be not very, but it'd be somewhat left-hand friendly. So that's the whole knife. Let's do some cut tests. I've sharpened it up nicely, and it cuts through paper very, very well. Straight down, that's without sliding it any which way. And that recurve, if you get a knife, if you get what you're cutting right in the hollow of that recurve, it just holds it right there, and it cuts very, very fine. And of course, the rest of the blade cuts as well. I like doing push cuts where I'm cutting with the same spot on the blade the whole time. It's easy to cut something like this, sliding it through. It's quite a bit harder starting at one spot on the blade and staying on that same spot all the way through. And this steel is quite nice. It's a nice budget steel. When I sharpened it, I've gotten used to how steel feels. So even when I was sharpening it, I really got the feeling that this is probably not 440C. I really do think it's 8CR13. Let's see if we can cut something else. We've got some cable here, and it cuts through that quite easily. Straight down, and just using a sliding cut or a slicing action. This is a USB cable. So there you go, you got wire inside there, 4 different wires, and it just cuts through very, very well. No problem at all. This is, in my opinion, a very nice little EDC choice of a knife. Let's see how it looks in a pocket. Pocket holds it quite well. We've got a very wide clip there. Grabs on nice and snug, holds on. You've got about 1 centimeter sticking out, a little over 1/4 of an inch. I mean, a little under 1/2 of an inch sticking out. Not bad. Easy to grab and pull, especially with those 4 different screws there. It gives you a lot of texture to grab, and easy to take the knife out of your pocket. Even with my left hand, I've gotten used to it a fair bit. So many different hand positions that are comfortable with this knife. A backhand hold, that works just fine. Forward hold, left or right. Pinch grip. This kind of slicing when you're cutting down, you're holding it like this. Nice firm grip. My finger is healing quite well. It's still a bit swollen up. As you can see, my finger is a bit swollen up, but it is working at healing. That was a nasty slice that I did there, but the look of it isn't that bad anymore, at least. Still tender. But I like that. So by way of warning, after you finish liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, I do want to remind you to cut towards your chum and not your finger and not your thumb. Bye-bye.